Good afternoon, world. It's moments past noon in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. We are broadcasting live from our palatial second story studio in the shadows of the Ellis County Courthouse. And today is March 11th, and it is the 47th episode. We have a new little tradition we started last week, it was hugely popular, and we're now going to quickly review famous people who wore number 57 in sports. And the first one is a quiz for our host, Scott. And here's how it goes. This man had the nickname of the Toe.
The toe.
In addition to being a place kicker, he was an offensive lineman. And the award for the best college kicker every year is called the
Lou
Groza. The
Groza.
Lou Groza Award. And he wore 76 and then he went to 46. And I think maybe when he quit being an lineman and just became a kicker only, they said, no, 76, that's for linemen.
Yeah.
You ever hear of a lineman that was a
No.
kicker? Quite a combination.
No, I haven't.
The greatness of Todd Christensen.
Oh yeah, tight end for the Raiders.
16
Yeah.
years, and I think he
Wow.
played the whole time for the Raiders.
Yeah.
The greatness of Andy Pettit.
Yeah,
With the big
left-hander for
beak,
the Yankees.
big
Yeah.
pointy nose.
Yeah.
Lee Smith for the Cubs.
Yeah.
And
Big old guy.
this is an odd one, but it was on the list. I mean, I'm not. When the Chiefs went to the White House to celebrate one of their Super Bowls, they gave Joe Biden a number
47.
A number 47, but it was really supposed to be 46.
Yeah. So somebody goofed.
Yeah.
Well, he probably didn't know it.
Yeah. And this is our host, Scott Brooks, and we got Sammy at the board.
Thank you, brother. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this beautiful Tuesday. What is afternoon now? 2 minutes. I was setting our time clock as you were introing. It is a beautiful Tuesday. Expected to be like this. Well, I think some bad weather's coming in tomorrow afternoon, but we'll take this good weather. It is nice. Thank you for being with us. We do this show on Tuesdays and Thursdays from noon to 1 and are having a blast. Thank you for joining us, whether you're coming from Twitch, Facebook, TikTok, what else, Instagram, or YouTube. Welcome to Britain Good News. So, what did you think of that weather the other day?
Well, I was too late to get Sam the video. We had it torrential over at our house. We had a pile of hail this big. We had it coming over the gutters couldn't handle it. It was coming over the top and up in the front porch. I had a stream of hail mixed with water rushing down a valley, a river down the sidewalk.
And that was the out front of your house,
That
right?
was out front, and that was taken at 5:24 a.m. And I know that we took that within 5 minutes of getting up, and I think it struck about 5:10, and it ran for close to 30 minutes. I've had 3 different roofing contractors, well, 3 that I talked to, half a dozen that stopped.
Oh yeah.
And locally, if anybody noticed all the leaves on the side in the middle of the streets, and the one contractor said to me, we can always tell if there was a real hail by leaves down.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience.
I mean, not limbs, but just leaves everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah. Hey, Chuck, thanks for being with us, bud, and especially to Sammy with the caps there. Sammy, anything for Chuck?
Hey, Chuck. Good to see you.
Well, you don't actually see him, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but we've all experienced some form of bad weather in our lives.
Right.
Tornadoes, bad thunderstorms. That the other morning was as loud as anything I've experienced in my life.
Yeah.
And how it didn't come through our windows is beyond
But did you get the hail too?
Oh yeah, that's what was bad. I
Yeah,
mean, it
yeah.
was battering our window. We have a big, huge window on one. It's facing south, and it it felt like that rain was, I mean, straight north like a machine gun of
Hmm.
hail.
Was it on Friday or
It was
Saturday?
Saturday morning,
Saturday at
and
5 morning,
yeah, and it
Saturday.
it was amazing. Our
By
dogs,
the way, Chuck, hi. I was
one
on
dog
mute,
is
sorry.
like, you know, the earth could be falling apart and he ain't gonna budge. And the other one is gets in his safe place. But it was incredible. And of course, we'll have tomorrow in the sun, we'll have some pictures. We'll have a story about a sad story about the man, dad, husband who passed away out at the Metroplex. Really
and
incredible
as soon as we heard that,
sadness.
and they said the name, and that the wife was in the hospital, Rita, my wife, said, "Oh my God!" I go, "What?"
Yeah,
She said, I taught her in 6th grade, and she was an angel,
yeah.
and she's been an angel all her life, and her kids are wonderful, and it hit her hard,
Yeah, his name is TJ Bailey, and it's
DJ, and
we'll have as much as we can tomorrow when things like this happen. We
the,
don't rush out and get the story from the family. Plus, the family, I don't know if she's still in the hospital, but
she's out.
she's out now. Yeah,
Did you see the picture of them sawing up the metal of the? You remember how huge that sign was in front of the?
yeah,
That thing went down.
we did it. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I know parts of the story are that the motorhome. I know motorhomes are popular and people use them, but you get into bad weather or a wreck within a motorhome,
they're
and it's
flippy.
Katie bar the door.
Yeah,
And this supposedly this motorhome stories are that it rolled
multiple
10 times, whatever. Just a sad thing. So tomorrow we'll have a little bit more about the pictures and all of
in
that.
the
But
paper.
man, in the paper, in the sun, and of course you can see it on waxahachiesun.com as well, where the pictures are more, you know, detailed and that sort of thing. So a couple of other things on our updates. I'm still doing my worst the top 10 worst liberals in Congress. I'm down to number 8. Sammy and I are probably going to do number 8 this afternoon. So I'm not going to say who it is, but our number 10 was Hakeem Jeffries, who I
Jeffries.
argue has lost complete control. I want to talk like him. Has lost complete control. That's how he talks. I think he's trying to be Martin Luther King and Obama mixed in one. But and then number 9 was the good old mealy mouth, weenie Richard Blumenthal, stolen valor dude. So that was those were 10 and number 9. We also have, let's see, Waxahachie baseball starts its district season tonight against Duncanville, or maybe DeSoto, whichever one's the Panthers. They play tonight at the Richards Park. And then just want to mention that my column tomorrow is going to throw out a what if and what if about what if, you may think I'm crazy here, but what if Jesus were president of the United States?
He would not be well received.
You know, that's a great thought. And so I give about
Love,
1,000
love
words.
that neighbor. What you
Yeah,
talking about?
turn the other cheek. Even I make some admissions, or at least one admission in that column about the idea. But that's what the column is about tomorrow. What if Jesus were the president of the United States?
Also of note regarding high school sports, the big number of teams from the Metroplex that won it down in Houston, starting with Lincoln.
I mean,
I mean
Duncanville did.
Kimball,
Kimball, okay.
um, Duncanville.
Yeah.
Um, I bring it up. I should know them all, but everybody that was down there except for Birdville won it.
Wow.
Four of them in 4 different
Well,
classes.
yesterday, was it yesterday or this morning that I sent you a text showing high school hockey in Minnesota playing in some, I don't know if it's one of the professional sports arenas or whatever
It's
up
the
there.
Excel Center downtown St. Paul where the Wild play.
Well,
Minnesota
that
Wild.
place for a high school hockey game was jam-packed.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. I told you I wouldn't be wearing no more hockey poems. I wouldn't wear any more hockey apparel if my Hornets had won it.
And they didn't.
They lost on Friday night in the semis by 1 goal late, less than a minute to go, and then they turned around and won the third place game on Saturday. But but Moorhead, the Twin City of Fargo Moorhead, which is on the Minnesota North Dakota border, they were 0-8 at the state, and so they won their first. So and they got a great nickname.
What is it?
They're the spuds.
That's fun. Oh, that's pretty good.
That's big sugar beet
We would
and potato
That's too
territory
funny.
out there.
You
Yeah.
know, a few years ago back, living in Tuscaloosa, the newspaper working there, I used to every day, not every day, every week, I would send out the best names,
Of
whether it
high
was a
school
personal
teams.
name or a personal
Oh,
name or the teams.
yeah.
And there are teams in this, there are schools in this country, and one of them stands out that I'll have to go back and check. I know it's in the Northwest, but they were called the Arabs or Arabs, however you want to say
Arabs.
it.
Okay.
That was their, and it had a little Arab looking character as their mascot. And I'm
That'd
thinking,
be, there's a Lebanon, Pennsylvania. That'd be good for a
yeah, it would,
Lebanon
but
team.
I want to say this one's in the Northwest, but we need to have our maybe we'll squeeze in our 5 best names of the week one of these times.
That's a
All
good
right,
segment. Yeah.
let's get started on our agenda. So I ran across this story last week about, and I don't, it's rather subjective to, I mean, unless somebody's talking about a person, somebody's a mass murderer or they commit overt, obvious crimes, that sort of
Hey,
thing.
can I cut you off for 1 second,
Yeah.
please? Back on our notes here. Tell me about this. Back on your worst 10. Tell me the story about the runner hit in the head with the baton by an opponent
Oh,
in
did
the
I have that?
race.
Oh, I left that out. Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you not see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go to YouTube, it's probably the best place. I should have had Sammy send him the video,
Okay.
but did you see it?
I guess
It
I
was a
didn't.
girls' race, and I can't
Okay.
remember where, in Virginia, at Liberty University.
Okay.
They're coming around the corner, presumably down the stretch, and one girl, they're both, everybody's got the baton. Actually, she's the third leg of a 4-leg race.
Okay.
And she passes a girl, and they're next to each other, and laying next to, and the girl that she passes takes the baton, and is running with the baton, but then takes the baton and whacks her on the back of the head. And the girl that got hit started falling and fell into the infield. Now she's
The
reportedly
girl, the
concussion.
girl was passed, and the girl behind hits the
Yeah,
girl
the
in
girl that
front.
was
Okay.
passed,
Wow.
and the girl that was hit reportedly now has, excuse me, a concussion and
Okay.
possible
Uh,
skull fracture.
yeah.
But I mean, now the story is that the girl that did it came out and said, I didn't do that intentionally. I was flailing, and
Well, you
you can
saw it.
watch
What
it.
What do you think?
Oh no, it was,
It was
you just whacked her. I
she's
mean,
over here crying on a podcast,
yeah,
but
it
she
was
she reached back and hit that girl in the head.
it was an amazing thing to watch. Chuck says, I can only imagine the
Are those things
liberals
solid
tomorrow.
or hollow? I've never actually
They're
seen one.
hollow, but they're made
Yeah,
of metal.
Yeah, they're
yeah,
Yeah,
metal.
and
Yeah.
they'll
yeah.
hurt. But yeah, Chuck, we'll see what tomorrow's column elicits. I don't know. But that's the story. It's hilarious but sad. I just don't understand. So I read a story last week, and yeah, Chuck says it blatant. It was blatant. So again, when somebody commits obvious crimes, you can say they're a sinful person.
Right.
Um, but if you don't see it, you don't know about it, then it's hard. It's rather subjective to say someone's sinful. Plus that's not really our job. Well, this
Right.
story is about a group that went out and did a study about how states are sinful, and then ranked the states from 50 to 1 as the most sinful states in America. All right, let me just see here. I'll tell you a little. It's a personal finance company that wanted to determine what are the most sinful states. I can't see with these glasses on. And in the United States in 2025, and the results show. I know somebody's going to jump me for this, but that most of the states that are sinful are blue. In a study published on February 24th, Wallet Hub wrote that Republicans and Democrats may like to point to one another of all that is wrong with the United States, but the truth is that each of the 50 states has its own virtues and vices. Analysts compare 54 key indicators of immoral behavior across all 50 states, including internet browsing history, uh,
That's immoral. Oh, what you browse? Okay.
alcohol use, gambling, uh, and that sort of thing. Here is a list of the top 50. I'm going to go through every one of them and not talk about every one, but just go through them. And I'll get down to number 1. So for y'all watching, you can think about, I know what you're thinking is, well, where does Texas fall?
Right.
You're probably thinking, where does Minnesota fall? I'm thinking, where's Alabama fall? You
No,
can't be sinful if you got the University
you
of
know what?
Alabama
I'm
in there.
looking for commonalities is what I'm looking
All
for.
right,
Are you
well,
you're going to start with the
I'm going to start with the
with the good
least
people?
sinful
Least, okay.
states.
Okay.
State. Least sinful: Idaho, New Hampshire, Vermont, Utah, Wyoming. Those are the least 5 sinful states in America. Anything that strike you as being common there? Idaho, New Hampshire, Vermont, Utah, Wyoming.
They're all smaller states except for Idaho. Well, Wyoming's big too. Forget that.
Well, it's big, but it's less
They're small.
populated.
That's where I was
Yeah.
thinking originally. Small on population, um, large on rural or forested areas.
Yeah, and you would
Very small on urban.
yes, and so you would think that synonymously that would equate to down home kind of
Country
values,
living, baby. Yeah.
hometown,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's all
strong
good.
flyover.
I like all that.
Although there's not much about flyover when it comes to New Hampshire, Vermont.
Okay.
So that's the best of the 50 in terms of sin. Next 5: Maine, Hawaii. That's a big contrast. North Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska.
A lot of the same things I said before.
Yeah, particularly with North Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska, and Maine. Hawaii, Hawaii. I guess people are preoccupied with the ocean. I don't know. Although, I've had friends of mine
You know,
that, not some friends,
you know what?
acquaintances that live there, and they're like, what you see on TV is nothing like Hawaii.
They're all glazed out on Maui Wowie and
Yeah.
everything's good and
Well,
perfect,
that and it's there's dirt and crime and there's my friends, particularly one guy that I've heard this more than one, but one of them was my friend, said that we got cabin fever or I
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
island fever, and we had to get off that place.
Sure.
Mormons in Utah, yeah, ain't
Yeah.
that the truth?
Good call, Rita.
Yeah, good call. So, but Nebraska, Iowa, North Dakota, yeah, same kind of concept. All right, next 5: Minnesota. No,
And back to that Utah, you're just you're just busy with the 10 wives always having sex, and then
I
everything's
guess.
good.
Yeah, that or being
What the
told
heck?
what to do.
Exactly.
Jeff said that, not Scott. All right, then
Let me have that gavel.
next 5. Here's your state: Minnesota, number
Okay.
40, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Connecticut, Massachusetts. Again, same kind of concept,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Except when you get to Massachusetts, you got Boston in there. All right, so that's that 5. Next 5: Kentucky, Alaska, Montana, Indiana, Rhode Island. Anything strike you there?
A lot of
Again,
the,
it's kind of that flyover country kind of thing.
it is.
All right, next 5: Kansas, same thing. West Virginia, Oregon, Maryland, Virginia.
We have not had a state yet with huge urban areas.
Not
I mean,
yet.
Twin Cities, that's not a huge urban
Not yet,
area.
but you know what? We didn't. If we looked at these states and if we just knew or what we think they are, whether Republican or Democrat, if we were correct in that, uh, I did New Hampshire, Vermont. These are blue states, and those are two of the least sinful according to the study. But it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see what they talk about, whether they're
All right.
Democrat or Republican. So we got did I already say Oregon, Maryland, Virginia, Arkansas, Missouri? Anything there?
No, I was busy looking to read. It's too cold up there.
Oh, too
Comment.
cold up there. You got that.
Yeah.
Right. New Mexico, Michigan, number 22. Washington, number 21. And at number 20, Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So,
our top 20 are going to be full of urban areas.
yeah, you would think, but although we just said Michigan and Washington, so you got some urban areas in there.
Yeah, but
Washington, you
Seattle's
you
not
got
a
Seattle.
huge, and Detroit's not huge.
No,
So,
yeah. All right, now we're into the top 19 most sinful
okay.
states.
All right.
Colorado, not drugs, but marijuana is legal there. Ohio, Delaware, North Carolina, and New Jersey. Then at number 14, Mississippi. 13, Oklahoma. 12 is Illinois. Then number 11, New York. And number 10, Georgia.
Illinois and New York, big urban.
Now, if I'd have said, is Georgia more sinful or New York? And you just had to add
I'd like to know what the 54 criteria are.
Yeah, they didn't list it, but I can find it. But anyway, all right, top 10. I just said Georgia's number 10, South Carolina number 9, number 8, Pennsylvania, number 7, Arizona, number 6. This is weird, Tennessee, number 5. Guess what state's number 5?
California.
Texas.
Texas.
Texas. Number 4, Louisiana, number 3, Florida, number 2, California, and the most sinful state in the United States of America is Nevada.
And they don't call Las Vegas Sin City for nothing.
Yeah, there's another place they call Sin City, which is New Orleans. And there, Louisiana's number 4. So Nevada, it says here, Nevada's spot in first place is unsurprising the most, considering Las Vegas' reputation as Sin City. But Wallet Hub said that gambling and lust are not the only sins associated with the state, but gluttony as well. The state
One of
also,
the 7 deadly sins.
yes, it is. The state also has the most prostitution arrests in the United States and the second highest number of fast food restaurants, and where it's a place where lust and gluttony both have a hold. Sadly, Nevada's preoccupation with its vices leaves little room for altruism, which is perfection or idealism, as the state has the second lowest volume in the. I can't cut it off. It also suffers from the second highest rate of disconnected youth. California, meanwhile, was placed in second due to having the third most mass shootings and the most elder abuse. What say you, Gavin? Hollywood's connection also played a part. Florida was placed third due to the prevalence of white-collar crimes in the Sunshine State. Greed rears its ugly head in the state as it ranks second when it comes to the number of identity theft and fraud per capita. So there you go.
Let's go back to our gambling one. Of those 5, Nevada and Louisiana are the only, Texas, Florida, and what's the other one in the top 5? I missed.
Texas, Florida. Let's see. In the top 5 would be Texas, Florida, Louisiana, and Nevada and California.
California doesn't have it. So we got a whole lot more gambling states than those 2.
Well,
But Nevada's the biggest, and Louisiana is a big old gambling state.
no, it sure is.
It's just debauchery in
If
every
the
level.
Adelsons have their way, the Mavs owners, the Metroplex is going to become a gambling hub if they can pull it off.
If they don't move them to Nevada.
Well, if they move them to Nevada, it'd be because they couldn't get the gambling approvals they wanted here.
Right.
Right.
And, the city council just did.
What?
They a big plot of land where the old Texas Stadium
Yeah.
was, which is like about as central to the Metroplex as you can get.
Yeah,
Really, it's
right
more
there.
on the Dallas side, but
Yeah.
they have approved that for gambling use.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
I wonder if that requires state approval, though. I assume that it does. State would have
You
to
know what?
approve for
wait a
gambling.
minute. I'm struggling. They had a zoning change.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think
Maybe it was the first step.
they zoned it approved for casino locations.
Maybe
Which you can do that without
I guess.
gambling being legal.
Yeah.
It's getting out ahead of the whole thing.
Yeah,
Right?
I think that's probably what's going on here.
Yeah.
My guess is that people are lining up to get on the side of the Adelsons.
And the Adelsons own that land now.
Yeah,
They bought that some
bought
time
it.
ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. We live in the 5th most sinful state in America.
Do they prorate any of these things towards the population? Remember how small the
They must.
population was?
I mean,
of all those? They might not.
I didn't get the details of the study. I don't know, but it's
Figures
an
lying,
interesting
liars
story.
figure.
Yeah, it's an interesting story to say the least.
No doubt.
All right, I want to talk about Doge. I know we talked a lot about it, but there still continues to be a lot of things happening. Sammy has some headlines he's going to show you. We're going to talk about those stories a little more in depth. The first of those, as you can see on your screen, Agriculture Secretary canceled last week. This was on March the 8th. That was Friday. Canceled a $600,000 grant for study on menstrual cycles in transgender men. I have so many questions, it's not even funny. First of all, what in the devil is it doing in the agriculture department? or whatever you want to call that segment. What do you call it? What do you call it? Secretary of
Health and Human Services.
No, agriculture. We have an
Oh,
agriculture, but I don't know if you call it a department at the
oh,
at the federal level. But anyway, it first of all, why is it there? And the answer to that is because it can be put there. It was able to be put there under the Biden administration and previous administrations to that. Nobody cared. It was a matter of saying, "Oh, let's just throw that in that bucket." You know, when
we've
you
had this discussion on. I think I've clarified, and I think you agree with my clarification. When we talk trans, when you say men, you're always talking their new status.
yeah,
So
so
it's a woman that went
woman,
to a man.
a transgender woman was born a man.
Okay,
A transgender man was born a woman.
right. So if you call it a transgender man,
This
so we're
doesn't even
still
say anything about. It says, let's see. Oh yeah, transgender men canceled a grant worth 600,000 for the study of menstrual cycles in transgender men who were born women. So the idea, it's not really an idea, but the fact is that they can have them.
well, it's just because of what we've had partial conversations about. If in trans means change, movement, right?
Yeah,
And so if you haven't gone all the way to have the southern plumbing taken care of,
you can still have them.
you're still kind of
Yeah, but we
in
don't.
an
Oh,
in
six hundred
between
thousand
stat.
dollars
It's
is
ridiculous either
yeah,
way.
it is ridiculous. So, but that's where it was, and we're spending $600,000. May in the grand scheme of things, $600,000 in the federal government's budget or spending is a blip on a little tiny blip on a big screen,
Right.
but it's absurd. And the fact that anyone would be upset with us yanking that sucker is crazy, crazy as the story, if you ask me.
Let's go on to a new one.
All right, new one. The next one is a Chuck says not only that, Scott, how are Democrats okay with it? Yeah, they're actually, you know what, Chuck? I I I think Democrats who are logical and who are willing to be honest with themselves and the rest of us can sit back and say, that's just stupid. It's just stupid. Matter of fact, it's almost criminal in my because it's taking our money, Chuck's money, Sammy's money now that he's got a job and all that. It's taking our money and using it for things that are absurd. And so I think more and more Democrats are starting to admit that they're with that, although they're small. It's almost the tyranny of the minority going on in this country. The small groups are still causing the biggest ruckus. Uh,
Squeaky wheel is getting the oil.
yeah, no doubt. Here's another one. Doge lawmakers look to defund Biden's anemic paced, meaning it's not going very far, very fast. $3 billion electric vehicle postal truck boondoggle. So what this does is says it's pretty simple. Says that the federal government has allocated is spending $3 billion to convert the little trucks that we see and that our postwoman sit in into get from gas to electric.
Well, every post office needs to have charging stations then.
Yeah,
And then,
that's a fact.
I mean, how many different in our town? How many different postcards do you think run around this town?
That's a good question. I don't
That's
know
got to
because I
be.
don't know how they assign, how many homes go into a route.
Surely it's at least a dozen.
Oh, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
And,
say
and
plenty.
unless you want to take labor by having different people out there switching the charge rope wire
Yeah,
cord from one to the next, then you got to have that many chargers
yeah,
out in the back of your place, and there's no room. Oh my God!
it's insane. But here's some facts
They
about
put
it.
the horse before the carriage,
The
carriage before
postal
the horse.
the postal service was to receive an initial order of 50,000 electric vehicle delivery trucks from defense contractor Oshkosh within the next 3 years, but only blank had been produced by November. So 50,000, $3 billion to uh, buy electric vehicle, whatever you call those, mail trucks, let's just call that, and only a certain number had been produced by this past November. Take a stab at how many, Sammy, you too. Take a stab at how many of 50,000.
I'll say
How
50 out of 50,000.
how many?
What was it?
50,000 mail trucks were to be electric vehicle. $3 billion has been allotted to it. But as of this past November, 4 months ago, only blank number had been bought.
Mail trucks
Mail trucks, yeah.
and 50,
Not female trucks.
50,000,
500.
93.
93.
So
Jeez.
93 trucks have been bought. Uh, let's see, there's the agreement forged between the Postal Service and the manufacturer ultimately finalized a $77,692 per truck. Per truck.
How
Let me
much?
say it again. Let's just round it up, okay? $78,000 per mail truck. $78,000.
That's
Now
absurd.
there's nothing fancy about a mail truck, is there?
No.
You store the mail in it and drive it around. It's not very big.
You got to put the steering wheel on the other side. But
Yeah, you got to put the steering wheel on the other side.
you got to put
That probably
somewhere.
cost the government 70,000 right there.
Uh,
But it's I don't. What other word can you
I hope
use?
they didn't prepay on that contract.
No, they didn't because
So now that
they're getting
money's
some of
still
that money back.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you got 77,000, I don't have my calculator in front of me, but you got 77,000 per truck, 78,000 per truck, and 93 have been purchased. Whatever that number is, that's what's been used of the 3 billion. So the rest of it is being yanked back. There's another bit of insanity, and I need to go to my thesaurus because I'm running out of synonyms for insanity. All right, one more here.
Ali?
Tesla vehicles. Oh no, now so those are just some updated examples of what's going on with Doge. Now I want to, pardon the pun here, transition to the response to what's going on. So the old theory of the tyranny of minority, the tyranny of the minority, is not a minority in the sense of skin color or class or whatever else you want to call ethnicity. It is the tyranny that small groups of people, like transgender people, 1.6 million in the country, are controlling the narrative. Uh, Things like you've got lots of other examples, LGBTQI plus, whatever those initials are now. That's a much bigger percentage, but it's still a minority. BLM minority changes the narrative or controls the narrative. So we have the tyranny of the minority when it comes to these protesters. It's a small group of people who are saying, wait a minute, we're either, my guess is that a huge percentage of these people don't even know what Doge is doing, but because they're those they listen to on social media or in their at the water cooler are telling them that Elon Musk is bad, he's doing bad things, on cut Medicaid, we're not going to be able to retire, we're all going to die homeless, blah blah blah. They jump on and they say, "Oh, we got to go protest this dude." So now we got Tesla dealerships being shot up, literally shot up with guns. I saw some yesterday that are now required. The Tesla dealership is paying for uh, protection security. So you got police officers lined up in front of the Tesla dealership, not doing anything other than preempting what could be an attack on the dealership. In addition, these whatever you want to call them, these people are targeting charging stations and burning them down. So it was a year ago that the left said we got to own, we got to. Matter of fact, there was a mandate put out by the Biden Harris campaign that said, and California has one too that says, and Trump has stopped it, but says we're going to go all electric vehicle in the federal government. So a year ago, it was the cat's meow to have an electric vehicle and to have a Tesla. Now we got the same group of people burning them down. Makes no sense to me, and obviously it makes no sense. But that's part of the response. And Elon, in an interview, forget who he was talking with. It might have been, it wasn't a Fox person, or I can't remember who it was. Just recently, basically, in the interview said that they want to kill me. I mean, they literally want to kill me. And Sammy, his thing keeps going out. It he's admitting they want to take my life. And I get it. I get that Elon is a bull in a china closet. He's a bit like Trump in that sense. And he's just cutting and then saying, oops, I shouldn't have cut that. rather as opposed to saying, okay, let me look at the whole thing and say, okay, we don't want to touch that part of it, but we're going to cut this. It's like with with Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
People are saying he's cutting all of Medicaid. Well, what he said is that I'm cutting the fraud and abuse in Medicaid, making Medicaid purely ethical, strong, no abuse, that kind of thing. So people are wanting to kill the dude, and it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he's got his own Secret Service, but not official Secret Service, but his own bodyguards. If somebody doesn't try,
Do you know, my friend Scott,
yes, sir.
that maybe it's because all the bronze statues of Confederate generals are gone, and that was in 2020 mostly that was happening, 2021.
Yeah,
And so those people, they've been going, we need something else
yeah,
to tear down, to burn, to destroy.
yeah.
And so,
I think you're right.
The idea of any form of vandalism to anybody's property for any reason it's just not right, man.
Yeah,
It's just not right.
you make two good points, obviously, and the first one that you make is what if your life's goal, if you have convinced yourself that the kind of warrior, and I use that in quotes, that you want to be is a destroyer, which I argue warriors aren't
No, of
destroyers
course not.
in that sense. They're tough. They'll destroy something, but what they destroy is bad, evil. But these types of warriors, these aren't warriors. These are more thugs, in my opinion, because all they're wanting to do is just tear down stuff that would otherwise is otherwise seen as being positive or useful. When that is your mission, and you run through the targets, you saturate what you're doing. What are you going to come up with next? This isn't going to work. It's only going to make Trump and Elon Musk, obviously, we see it, dig deeper in committing themselves to. What are you going to do next?
But in the irony is you're killing your own. Okay, the liberals who wanted the Green New Deal, and there were like everybody in that camp, or just it's going the other way. You're destroying what you wanted.
Yeah, it's
And I don't want to broad brush everybody with an electric car in that category. Just like I don't want to broad brush anything. It's it's the same thing about the bad reputation goes because of the bad few.
yeah,
I mean, how many people are really involved in this?
yeah, I
You
would
know,
agree.
I don't know.
I would agree. It's
Sad.
again, I've talked about this meme before, or this picture before, the German Shepherd at the apex of a cliff, the top of a cliff, and he's angry. Well, he's not really angry, but he's hungry. He's hungry and he's
Yeah.
irritable, and he sees a bird fly by, and he wants the bird, and so he jumps out off the cliff, grabs the bird, kills the bird, but in the process kills himself. It's the same thing going on
Sure.
here, and I don't understand. Last thing I want to talk about on this is Sammy. Sammy's going to play a minute and a 28-second video. The reason we're playing the whole thing is because one, it's useful, every part of it, and I think you can glean something from it. But this here, and this is from CNN, so it's CNN. But
Consider the
listen to
source.
what
There we go.
CNN says. The numbers are about what American sentiment for Doge.
CNN's Harry Anton joins me now to talk more about how people are feeling about when we're talking about the cuts that Doge is bringing about. How are they feeling about
Yeah, this to me was one of the more shocking figures that I saw. Made me go, wait a minute, hold on one second. Whoa! Americans on Trump and Joe's efforts. Musk and Doge should influence government spending and operations. Look at this. 54%. The majority say that he and they should. How about approve of Trump trying to cut staff at government agencies? Again, you get a majority here. 51%. So yeah, Elon Musk might not be that popular, but these cuts and the idea of spending cuts, at least within the federal government and cutting at government agencies, that actually has majority support. I was truly surprised by this, Kate, but the numbers are the numbers.
Well, there is a view that cuts across Democrat and Republican of people thinking that Washington is too big, bloated federal government, waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, those are drain the swamp is what people run on over and over again. How do they feel? What do they think they're actually cutting?
Yeah, what do they think they're actually cutting? Democrats want to argue that the type of spending that Musk is cutting is mainly necessary programs. But that comes in at just 36%. The wasteful spending actually wins the plurality here at 42%, according to a recent Washington Post Ipsos poll. And I think that is the reason why you see that when it comes to Musk and Doge, you see, in fact, the majority believe he should have some influence because they believe, the plurality believe, that he is cutting wasteful spending, not necessary programs that Democrats are arguing.
There you go.
You know,
So
isn't it ironic that we have talked about wasteful spending like my entire adult life?
yeah, for sure.
And so now it's unpopular to do something about it.
Yeah,
It's just hoo-hoo,
yeah.
cuckoo.
For decades upon decades, I guarantee you, those before us were talking about we can't be
On
using
both
this money.
sides of the aisle,
And we
dude.
finally get to a place in life where somebody is willing to do it. Somebody who's a billionaire, not charging to do it. Somebody who's putting his life at risk. A president who's committed to it. And now we got 36% of the Democrats believe he's cutting things that are critical. 42% actually believe he's doing the right thing. So it's that 36% of half the country believes that Doge is bad, and that is the tyranny of the minority. That 36% is loud enough, severe enough, extreme enough, crazy enough to take over the headlines, for us to talk about it on our show, to videos to be everywhere, burning down this, destroying that, and yet they don't know what they're talking about. How we get here is just evil. Anyway, anything else on that?
We beat that. We
All
whipped
right.
that horse.
All right, bud. 5 random thoughts for today. What say you?
People with short tempers should not have long memories. You know where that came
Short
from?
Oh,
It came from a Dennis the Menace last week.
people with short temper should not have long memories. Yeah,
That's pretty deep, Dennis.
yeah, it
It's pretty
is.
deep stuff. And it's the parallel to people who live in glass houses should not throw stones.
Yeah,
And
yeah. You know what's going on right now is that the government is on the verge of being shut down, and the Democrats are doing it mostly.
right,
It was a year ago that the Democrats now are having to listen to their own videos, their own words about how awful it is that anybody would shut the government down.
right,
Same kind
right,
of thing.
right. So many times I quote my late great father Thomas Virgil Lynch, and I'm going to give them two back to back because they're of the same general subject. Um, when I'd come back from the barbershop, he'd often say, "Looks good off ya." But the parallel to that one is, and I came home from the barbershop last week, and I was a little bit shaggy, and I asked my darling bride, I said, "How's my haircut?" She said, "I didn't even realize you had one." And it goes with
Yeah.
the converse of my dad's, his other side is to say, the best haircut is one that nobody notices. Because if you didn't let it get too bushy
Yeah.
and you just did it right,
Yeah.
nobody really noticed
Yeah.
it. And number 5, plastic water gauge will crack in a media blizzard.
No doubt. Yeah.
That's I went to check the rain after the second
And it
rain.
did?
And no, it was cracked.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
That's it.
Doesn't
That's
surprise
my
me.
5.
Okay, very good.
All right.
All right, now it's time for it's time for us to talk about our he said, and we're going to go through this one rather quickly.
Right.
12:43. Uh, what do you think about? And Sammy can weigh in on this one because Sammy loves this stuff. But what's going on with NFL free agency? The signings we've got in about a month and a half. We have the NFL draft. So what say both of you? Sammy, you want to start?
What have you seen so far, Jeff?
Well, we're just early on the free agency thing. I think the significant thing to me was the restructuring of the CD and the DAC
Yeah.
contracts, and it took us from being way down the list on cap money available. Did we talk about this the other day?
I don't think so.
And so suddenly it moved us up to having $50,000 of available cap money. $50 million.
50,000 might get me,
Yeah,
but it won't.
50 million. And so suddenly that gives us cap money to work with.
And we already went out and got somebody.
Who?
We got a running back.
Oh yeah,
from
yeah. I saw
Denver.
that.
Yeah. But
Does that mean we're not going to draft Gianti in the draft?
I don't know. I don't think we can get him at 12, is what they say. I've heard mock drafts with him at 6 or
Yeah, but
7.
there's another stud out there, Omarion. Forget where Clemson or South
Clemson.
Carolina.
I don't know.
Well, how about that guy with the funny last name that starts
Oh,
with an
Scadaboo.
Scadaboo,
Oh, yeah,
your boy
He's a
from
good
Arizona,
player.
Yeah, I'd be
State.
there to see Scadaboo play.
He'll
Yeah.
probably go second or
Who?
third round. Scadaboo.
Oh,
I don't see him going first.
Scadaboo is he's like a Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can play.
Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Who got
yes, sir.
robbed.
Yeah.
All right, what say you, Sam?
One of the ones today that I saw was Daniel Jones going to the Colts.
Yeah.
I think on a 1-year deal, probably worth $50.
It is amazing to me how these supposedly washed up quarterbacks get tossed around, but sometimes, like with Sam Darnold, they
You
land and
can-
then they show what they had when they were drafted.
And that might be for
Let's
Kenny
see, you
Pickett.
never know.
Kenny Pickett got traded to the Browns.
Yeah,
I
Kenny
don't
Pickett
know.
was a backup. I don't know who the
Are they
Browns.
gonna go with
Who?
who was their quarterback last year? That funny guy, black guy.
Oh, Jameis Winston.
Yeah, Winston. I
funny.
don't know if they're gonna keep him. Or...
I don't think they. I don't know if they kept him or not.
Yeah. So I mean, it'll be interesting.
Well,
but-
I got. What were we gonna say?
Well, and then I got this other stat on spending on free agents in 2024. We were 18 million, and the top in the league was 259. We were way at the bottom, and so we're just
We'll see.
Chuck said we signed I guess Javante had a bad injury. I haven't really kept up with him. I don't really know much about
Who?
The running back we signed, Javante Williams.
Oh, he was injured.
Apparently he had a bad injury. But
Oh, yeah. It's just we're gonna go through it. I'm here to tell you, I don't want to be raining on anybody's parade, but until Jerry Jones changes and at 80 whatever years old he is, he's not going to change. And so we got 50 million to spend.
Yep.
We got 50 million to blow, to waste,
right.
to misuse. We need Doge at the Cowboys.
Oh, he had an ACL injury.
That's a bummer. Here's what not that it matters, but I got the Bills coming back stronger than ever. They
gave Josh a big contract the other day.
he's
They
but
let
they
go
but
of.
they got some other players that they've signed.
They signed some, and I know they got rid of the veteran linebacker from Denver.
Von
yeah.
Miller. I got the Vikings. JJ McCarthy, that's the unknown about the Vikings, but they've signed some decent players.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to see if the Giants sign Aaron Rodgers. I think they will, or the Steelers. I was telling
Do
Sam
you think
yesterday.
Aaron
the
wants to
Steelers-
come back and play again?
Yeah.
I told my dad, I was like, I think he's gonna
He didn't
retire.
want. Well, imagine you're Aaron Rodgers, and money doesn't
is,
really.
is he chasing Tom
not
Brady
really.
records? Or
No,
anything?
but he doesn't want to go out that way.
Hmm.
It's not a money issue anymore. He doesn't want to go out that way. Neither does
Yeah.
Russell Wilson. Neither does Daniel Jones. I got Seattle. Seattle's making some
They got
changes.
Sam Darnold.
And then the Cowboys is always the enigma.
I think the Jets are gonna have a big turnaround with Justin Fields.
Yeah, we'll see. Justin Fields hasn't given much reason to believe that now, but who knows?
I think it'll be better than.
I mean, he's been in the league 3 or 4 years, and he's been third team. Chuck
Yeah.
says the Cow. Yeah, you're right, Chuck.
Right on.
The Mavericks are cursed. Jeff, you sent me what was that? You sent me a text about something Mavericks.
Well, I saw that they beat the Spurs last night. Was it?
I don't know, but I know they only had
They-
7.
8
They,
players.
they,
That's what
they
it was.
dressed
Yeah.
8, and I thought, how many do they have? And when I sent you that first text, I was
like
trying to go
15.
Safari, and I had you on from before, and so I sent you the text by mistake.
Oh,
And I went to Safari. You can dress 13, and they dressed 8.
wow.
It's like an AAU basketball
Yeah,
game.
they're cursed. I mean, they're in my
That's what they
opinion, they're
deserve.
cursed.
I think they-
However, still going to say it's unpopular. Put these teams healthy on the floor. Dallas beats LA.
Healthy on the floor.
So you
We're-
think
we're when are we gonna be healthy on the floor? Next year, maybe.
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 I know. I'm just saying. I think that the trade all things being equal, and you put the trade factors on the floor and play, I think the Mavs are better than the Lakers, frankly. All right, there it is. Anything else on those two?
No, I think
All right,
we
off
think
the
we got it.
cuff. It's March the 11th. Who's going to win the Super Bowl next year?
Oh, geez, Bills. The Buffalo Bills.
Jeffrey?
I got a quarter zip for the Bills and I got a quarter zip for the Chiefs this year. I wore them both at different times. I'm just gonna pull for my quarter zips.
I'm going for the Bills. Yeah.
I
All
think
right.
I think the Ravens have a shot too, though.
Yeah.
I think the
We'll
Chiefs
see.
are done.
We'll see. Yeah, I agree. All right. It's rhyme time. What you got for us? And as Jeff gets his poem ready, is that not the best looking shirt? That is my favorite colors right there. Navy blue, pink, got a little crimson in there. Let's not get carried away. You don't that's not muscle. That's just the looseness of the shirt.
It's just a wild ass design.
It's
It's not paisley. It's nothing.
it's a cool
It's
looking
cray
shirt.
cray. It's cray cray.
It's very good. All right, what do you got for us today?
Sam, do you remember one day when we were in the front office and you had just come to the paper? We talked about spontaneity and you didn't know what that meant.
Yep, I
Spontanoo?
remember.
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity.
And I said,
Yeah.
and so then I pulled out this book, was sitting up there in the front, and I read it to him and taught him a little bit about
Yeah.
spontaneity, which is the act of being spontaneous.
Yeah.
And like I like to remind the kids in class all the time, you can write a poem about anything you want, whenever you want, whatever piques your deal. I guess it's well, the second verse will tell you I've heard this quite a few times from my bride, and so I just decided to write a poem about it.
Go for it.
You can't duplicate spontaneity. It doesn't work that way. Yet this I often do say. Seems like nearly every
Day.
But my wife tends to say to me, when a cute expression she does see, please do that again. Then the trouble does begin. I can't repeat what I've done, though she thought it was fun. It happened without thought. That's all that I've got. When you make a quip, it rolls off your lip. Not only is this quite fine, it beats any memorized line. You see, spontaneity is found inside of me, inside of you too. I guarantee that is
You.
true.
Oh.
Yes, a rehearsed line is fine, but not every time. Leave those to the stage where it's all the rage. Be open to your heart. It will do its part. Relax and it will flow if only you let it go.
That's good. That's one of my favorite ones.
Thank you.
That's good. You know, spontaneity
Spontaneity. Who's writing a
is
poem about spontaneity?
kind of like impulsiveness is both a blessing and a curse, right?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that's a very good poem. Very well done.
You know
Thank
what?
you.
Probably the majority of times that I
Yeah.
ever get in trouble with my wife is if I make a little quip that I didn't think through all
Yeah.
the implications before
Yeah.
I made it, and,
Yeah.
and then boy, I go, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's spontaneity
Yeah.
really
No,
worked there, big guy.
I can relate.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, it's time. That time for day in history. What do we got?
Day in history, we only
How'd you
have
do?
6 entries today, and I was 4-2. I got no bonuses, and thankfully we don't have anything from the 16 or the 1700s.
Good.
I'm not
Today's.
sure even about the 1800s, and that's a pretty big clue. Here we go.
All right.
Today in history, I shouldn't have given you such a big clue. What were believed to be the first confirmed U.S. cases of a deadly global flu pandemic were reported among U.S. Army soldiers stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas. 46 soldiers would die. The influenza outbreak would ultimately kill an estimated 20 to 40 million people worldwide. What was the year?
I know it. 1920.
I think it was 1938.
It was 1918.
Oh,
And
Say
what
it.
was that
That's
influenza
what I was going to
called?
ask you.
dang it.
Wait a
What
minute.
was
Wait a
it
minute.
called?
Did it have a color in it? A color in the
The
name?
Black Plague?
No.
No, it had
Cooties.
a
Jeez.
nation of origin in it. Just
Some
like we call
some flu.
the something flu.
The I don't know.
I don't know either.
The Spanish flu.
Flu there. I was
dang
thinking
it.
The
Panam.
Span-
I
it was
almost said Panamanian. I'm thinking
the
that sounds dumb.
Spanish flu.
Okay.
All right.
President Franklin D. Roosevelt, FDR, signed the Lend-Lease Act, which provided war supplies to Allied countries during World War II.
1941.
Sammy is rolling. 1943.
41, mother Sam the man. He's
Come
starting to learn
on.
some history.
Let's go.
I think Sammy's going to the Dallas Morning News every morning.
So,
No, I'm not.
so that happened. Bear in mind that Pearl Harbor was in December of 41, so it happened in March. We weren't in the war, but we knew we needed to help. And then when the Japs kicked their little hind
Mhm.
ends, then we
Yeah.
were really in the war at that point.
Yep.
Lend-Lease.
And at least.
That,
Yeah.
that, meant, that meant we might want some money back.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Um,
Yep.
Mikhail Gorbachev was chosen to succeed the late Konstantin Chernenko as general secretary of the Soviet Communist Party, and that was when the USSR was in effect. That was the equivalent of their
Yeah.
president. It was the name for their dictator, is what it was.
1987.
I was gonna say 1972.
85.
Yeah.
Dang it.
So you got Gorbachev and Reagan.
I didn't know half of the words you said in that
Well,
sentence.
Gorbachev was and Reagan were at the same time, which
Oh.
is in the late.
Well, it was just the names.
Yeah. It threw me off.
Yeah.
Now Spain gets back into this again after.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank
Okay,
you.
here we go. 3 days before general elections in Spain, 10 bombs exploded in quick succession inside commuter trains in Madrid, killing 193 people in an attack linked to Al Qaeda inspired militants.
Uh,
2002.
2006.
2004 split the difference, and you guys had it right.
Good job, Sam.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was born that
Is
year.
this the last one?
I got two more.
Okay.
Former Serb leader Slobodan Milosevic.
Slobodan.
Slobodan. I had the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah.
Slobodan Milosevic. Thank you.
Like insurance versus insurance.
Was fo-
Umbrella versus umbrella. Okay, go ahead.
was found dead at age 64 of a heart attack in his prison cell in the Netherlands, abruptly ending his 4-year UN war trials.
And what was his last name again?
Milosevic. Milosevic.
Is this the last one?
No. 2017.
2015.
2006.
Oh
Wow.
So he was a Serb, but he's in a cell in the Netherlands because it was a UN war
man. Oh yeah.
crimes trial that got him
Yeah.
there. And I'm bad on earthquakes and volcanoes. I managed to get this one. A magnitude 9 earthquake resulting tsunami struck Japan's northeastern coast, killing nearly 20,000 people and severely damaging the Fukushima, Fukushima, Dailichi, nuclear power station.
2012.
2019.
2011.
Yes.
Sammy is kicking booty. Is
Let's go.
that it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's good. What were you 4 and
4 and 2.
Yeah, I was 3 and 3.
3 and
I
3.
think I
Sam?
added an extra one.
4 and 2.
Sam, 4 and
Very
2.
good. Very, very, very
Our
good.
man.
Yeah.
All right, before we get to our meme, want to just any reminders? We'll be back Thursday, of course.
Yes, sir.
The whole new set, new agenda.
Somebody
are,
asked me the other day who's a fan and listens with some regularity. God bless you, Aunt Beef. Do you ever think of going to one show a week? I said, we think we got enough material for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could probably come up with material for more, but there's plenty for what we're trying to do, and that is bring the world of Waxahachie. There's plenty of stuff.
Yeah.
And
I guarantee we couldn't do more than 2.
no, it would be a
It
struggle,
would tax me.
and yeah, it is a decent amount of work, I will tell you, and we want to fill up an hour. We don't have any dead time, as you can tell.
We're good at that.
So yeah, we are good at that, but Again, nice shirt.
Thank you.
Sammy's learning. Let's see, nothing really going on in the sports world when it comes to TV. Sonia and I just finished a series called Banshee. Great series. What'd you say? Racing? Sammy's into racing.
I said it's race week, Formula
Race
One
week.
debut.
Oh, yeah. Race week. Big deal. Okay. Sammy's going to put up the meme for you. And this is so true in life, is that what we see in other people, particularly those on this, well, I'm talking about successful people. We see them, as you'll see depicted here on the podium, as it were.
Okay.
What we don't see is everything they had to experience
Mm-hmm.
to get there. And, so when I think of people like Elon Musk, or I think of people like you, or I think of people in town that are successful people, I need to always remember that what we see, and usually that's what we judge them on, is only a small piece.
Oh,
The
yeah.
biggest piece we think, but it's these things that make
Those
all the
things.
difference.
Oh my gosh.
Pain, effort, desire, training,
Early mornings.
failure,
Listening. Sacrifice.
blood, sweat, and tears, patience, discipline, innovation.
Grit.
Yeah, grit. There you go. So
That's
just hope
nice.
we never forget that. All
That's
right.
nice.
Thank you for being with us. We will see you on Thursday at noon. It's all yours, Jeffrey.
Remember, don't write a check you can't cash.